last year we attended the huge convention, met a lot of people that were in the pressure washing industry that were doing the from a few people that we met at the convention. They started talking to us about it and how profitable it is for them. We ended up getting certified and started for the first time last year. It actually shot up to one of the top revenue driving services for 2023. So of course we kept it.
What's going on, guys? Today I'm joined by Kasy Allen. Kasy is the COO of Wheatley Creek Services out in Colorado. I absolutely love their business, their branding, their website. Everything looks awesome, and so I'm super excited to pick your brain today.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Super excited to meet you as well.
Awesome. So for starters, just for context, can you give us a background about your company, the services you guys provide, as well as the size of the business at this point?
Yep. So right now, including myself and my husband, we have 8 employees. We still consider ourselves small. We do home services, and home services include everything from window washing, junk removal, handyman work, and then also residential cleaning. So our team is split into 2 groups. So we have our cleaning team, and then we have our handyman crew. I usually manage the cleaning side of things, and then my husband does the managing of the handyman side of things. But of course, we work together and try to keep the company going.
Awesome. So the first thing I want to dive into then is in regards to the services. I was checking out your website. You guys provide a ton of different services. So I want to kind of pick your brain and see what like your expansion model was. But for starters, do you mind just sharing which services specifically you guys provide, just for context?
Yeah. So just looking at like last month's reporting, like our cleaning and then our handyman is probably our biggest revenue drivers. Window cleaning is very seasonal, right? We're going to get more revenue from that in the spring and in the fall. I also should mention that we live in a ski community. So we're up in the high Rockies. We're at 8,000 feet in elevation. So we have very dramatic seasons. So right now we're in the summer and people come to the mountains to vacation in the mountains. So we have a lot of second homeowners too, right? So we have people that are coming and they want to enjoy the mountains and not spend time on their second home. So that's when we come in and we take care of the house. So they may call us and hire us for cleaning. And then they find out we can also do the maintenance. So we end up taking care of those people's homes when they're gone. We also take care of short-term rentals. So those are the homes that people are putting on Airbnb, but they don't live here. So again, they need somebody to help clean the house and then also maintain the house. So we take care of those. Then we go down during our mud seasons. Our mud seasons are going to come in that spring and that fall. And we pick up again in the winter. So as soon as the snow starts coming in and the visitors start coming in, we get busy again. So we kind of follow seasonal trends, but that's how our services kind of fit in with those different seasons and those different audiences.
I guess is your strategy for scaling essentially you acquire a customer for whatever service they show interest for initially, but then you try to sell them on other services on the back end and retain them on an ongoing basis from there?
Yep. So I have a background in SEO. So our website is highly optimized. And so we get probably 50% of our traffic is from people doing a Google search, and they're going to do a Google search for what they're looking for at that moment, right? Same thing in social media. We get a lot of leads from social media, Facebook, like local groups where somebody says, hey, I'm looking for somebody to clean my house. And then people go and then recommend us. So it usually starts with one line of service. And then when we get them on the phone and we're talking to them and we mention that we do other things, and of course we're sending them brochures, we're sending them emails, and just talking, right? On the phone, they learn more about us and realize that we can do much more than just that initial thing that they hired us for.
Got it. And so I know you mentioned you've been a part of the business for about a year. Were you around when the business first formed, and like when did it first form?
I was around when it first formed because it's my husband's company. So when we first launched, April was our 3-year anniversary. So 3 years ago when it launched, I built the website and did all the digital marketing. Of course, I had my full-time job. So I did the full-time job and then all the marketing that I could for the company at the time. So the first 2 years of the company, my husband had his hands full and was trying to grow the business. And then when I stepped in about a year ago, June, I guess was my year, I was able to take on a lot of the load that he had. take it on full time. In fact, we joke because the first week that I started, I easily filled 40 hours. So his load was quite robust at the time.
Awesome. And so, also, just to backtrack a little bit, the size you guys are at now within just 3 years is very impressive. So, you guys have done a great job at growing so far. And I'm excited to see your growth for this year. So, with that being said, from the very beginning, were you guys already offering all these services, or did it start on a smaller scale, just one or two services, and then you added on over time?
We definitely changed over time. In fact, it's interesting to know that we started as a cleaning company. We had some friends that were leaving town. They were moving, they were relocating out of the state, and they had a list of 10 clients that they were cleaning for, and they needed somebody to take that over. So we went over, had dinner with them, talked about their business model, how they treat their clients, how they their processes, right? So we learned everything that we could from them. We took on their clients, and that's how we started, which is interesting because I think we're better known as a maintenance and a handyman company. And when we say we have cleaning services as well, people are like, oh, wow, I didn't know you did that. But that's how we started. So we then started to promote the handyman side of things. And then we learned different services that we could do. So when we learned about window cleaning, my husband started watching YouTube, a lot of YouTube, right, and learning about window cleaning, and then went and took classes to learn about it. Appliance repair. He got certified in appliance repair, so now we can offer that service as well. So it was kind of like the supply and demand. People would call and say, "Hey, can you do this?" And we're like, "Let's see if we can do that." And then we started. At one point, I feel like we were doing everything. It's like we can do anything, right? And then we realized you get thin when you have that type of model. So you kind of have to like pick your services. So
Mm-hmm.
the services that we have on the website right now are our primary ones that we promote. But we get weird things like I got a call this morning to see if we could spray weeds, noxious weeds, and of course we could definitely help with that. So I mean, it's just kind of talking to the customer and seeing what it is they want. Again, in our community, because we're a second home community, it's a lot of taking care of a home because the homeowner's not here. Like, hey, the HOA just called and said I have noxious weeds. How can I get that taken care of? Well, we can help you with that.
That makes a lot of sense. So initially you started off with just the cleaning, but over time people asked for this and that, and so you saw if you could do it. If you could do it, make good money, and it made sense, you offered it as an official service, and if not, then you try to avoid it. And over time, that's how you accumulated. I think it's like about a dozen different services you guys do now.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. And again, like in December, we slowed down, which sounds funny because like our cleaning team is speeds up, right? Because it's snow season and the vacation rentals are coming in, and our cleaning team is really busy. But the handyman work slows down, right? Because as a homeowner, you're not thinking of remodeling your house and honeydew list and doing house chores, right? In December, so we slow down. So last year we picked up Christmas lighting. We attended the huge convention, met a lot of people that were in the pressure washing industry that were doing the Christmas lighting starting in the fall, and we didn't actually walk away from the huge convention thinking we were going to do Christmas lighting, but from a few people that we met at the convention, they started talking to us about it and how profitable it is for them. We started learning more about it. We ended up getting Flip certified and started Christmas lighting for the first time last year. It actually shot up to one of the top services, revenue driving services for 2023. So of course we kept it in our line of services, and we'll be doing that this year as well.
It's like you said, it's very seasonal. So you might have very slow periods where there's not much work, but then adding something like that where that's literally the hot time of the year for that, it just keeps
Yeah,
you busy year round.
yeah, absolutely.
Or actually, just backtrack a little bit. So when it comes to scaling, so I just want to get your feedback on this because obviously you guys do a lot of services, so you have the experience of doing many different things, not just specializing in one service. When it comes to scaling, there's multiple strategies you can take, but from the clients I speak with, from the people I work with, a lot of people are either deciding to, let's say they do just pressure washing, they're either thinking of expanding their service area and going into other markets, or just doing more services in that immediate market. Now, obviously, you guys do a lot of different services, so I'm sure your business model scale is just to do more for the same client. Do you think that's the best approach, or do you think for someone in other markets where they can just do the same service, be laser focused on that one service, but go into more areas? Which of those models do you think makes more sense?
I think I guess it would depend on the company. I think both of them could be successful. Where we live, we're in a very small community. Full-time residents in the town that we live in and that we operate our business out of is only 5,000 people. When Tris season comes around, a lot more people are here, right? But the majority of people don't live here. So we're actually really small. So to say that we're going to expand to like we encompass our entire county, right? That's who our customers are. We can go to a neighboring county and expand our services, right? We have plenty of ski towns, ski areas around us. Um, but to me, like we're in our third year of business, to think about going to a neighboring community and then start growing our second company seems like a really big task. Where me catering to my local community right now that I'm in and growing my business here feels like it's more stable for the coming years. So that's probably the approach that we would take is to grow in our own community, keep advertising to our local community, keep networking, having going to the chamber meetings and meeting people, and that seems more sustainable for us at this point.
For sure. And you're right. I mean, every market is a little different. So, from the very little I know about your geography, it seems like to go from your county to the next, it's probably a bit of a drive and a bit difficult to be able to make that link. But for someone who's in Florida or Texas, for example, maybe it's very easy to expand their service area, adds maybe a little bit more of a commute, but hundreds of thousands of more people they could potentially target. So that definitely makes sense.
Absolutely. Well, and think about like, so I'm 2 hours away from Denver. So to make a trip to Denver, like you prepare for it, right? You know you're going to drive there for 2 hours and come back. So that's 4 hours of your day, right? So it's a big thing to go to Denver. However, if I was a business in Denver, I may be focusing on a neighborhood, Lakewood, for example. And then if I wanted to expand my business, maybe I go to another neighborhood in Denver, right? And there's so many people in Denver. There's a lot of different avenues that you can use to grow your business, right? But and there's so many people there. A lot of competition too, though, right? Where in my area, my competition is very minimal. But the drive time to go from one side of the county to the other is probably about an hour. Um, so yeah, we try to lock in our community for sure.
Yeah. Which for your geography, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, there's not a huge audience size and not a lot of potential customers, but for the customers that you can work with, you're providing tons of different services. So they're coming through different avenues, searching for different services, but they stick with you guys for any service they need. Not any service, but most of the services that they may need.
Yep.
Awesome. And so something I see a lot of people do as well is they will offer multiple services, but they'll have different companies essentially for these different types of services when it's different enough. For example, Christmas lights versus interior cleaning, very different services. So for some people, they'll just have separate companies. I know you guys house all these services under the same company. So I guess was there any point where there's a conversation, should we do this separately? Or I guess how did that come about?
Yeah, so I've mentioned this before, I have a background in digital marketing, right? So I've worked for big corporations where we had to make decisions like this. Well, so at one point, I worked for a large global company, and they would create new businesses, but they would do them as DBAs underneath. So there's a benefit to when you separate a website, right, and you have your another business, and there's a benefit to keeping it all under one roof. One of those is SEO, for example. All of the efforts that you're putting towards one website have to, if you create a second website, those efforts have to now be separate, right? You have to get different reviews, you have to get different links, you have to do this different social media. All of that work still has to be done for both of those businesses in order for them to grow. When you keep it under one roof, all of that effort is going towards one website, right? So I'm not chasing reviews for two businesses and links for two businesses. It's all going under that wheatleycreek.com website.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so let's say you're advertising for multiple services, directing traffic to your website for, let's say, Christmas lights. They might go there for Christmas lights, and obviously, like you said, driving traffic to the website is helping with the SEO, but they might need that other service. Whereas if it was split into websites, they might not even know you guys offer those other services, so the opportunity to sell them on those services wouldn't exist as well.
Yep. And then I have a client, actually, a side project that I'm working on, and their main line of business is fencing. So, but they have a lot of wood, right? Fencing and wood. It makes sense. So in the fall, they do firewood. So we actually came up with the idea. What they want to do is build a website, an e-commerce website that sells the firewood for them. And they have the website for the fencing. So we're going to actually end up doing a subdomain. So it sits still on the same website. It
Mhm.
looks like two different brands, but it's still connected. So if somebody goes and visits it, they can see like that connection between those websites.
Cool. Okay. And so, on the opposite side of the spectrum, do you feel like there's any benefit to separating companies and having separate websites and completely separating it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so the same company I was just talking about, his wife has different websites, and we were talking. She feels like she has like 10 websites, and it's a lot to manage, and she feels overwhelmed with all those websites. However, they're different services. So, for example, if she's a seamstress and she's doing wedding dresses, but she also does yoga retreats, those are kind of like two different things. So it makes sense to have it as two different websites.
Makes sense. Something else that I really liked, and I could clearly see this not just on your website, but even just your branding, was you guys are very community oriented. You want like immediately anyone that comes across your brand to know that you are for the community. What are some things like you guys do like consistently to show you're part of the community and ingrain that in the people that come across you guys?
Well, I'm glad that is the vibe that you got because we totally work on that. So um, I'm involved. I'm on the local Destination Granby. Granby is the community we live in. I'm on the board for Destination Granby, and attend all of the local events as often as I can. We also do sponsorships for local youth sports and then the Historical Society. So our background: my husband was born and raised here, and his family actually homesteaded here. That's really rare, but he is the fourth generation for our area. So he has a lot of local history. And that really connects really well with people when we're meeting new clients and we tell them about our local history and that we're small business and we're here. It really connects with people, I think, because they get this, they know that we're not going anywhere. We're here, we're invested, we're part of our community, we're attending these events, we'll take care of your home, right? This is our home, and we want to take care of your home. And I think that really resonates with people. Yeah, community is a really big deal for us, and we try to invest as much time as we can um, promoting Wheatley Creek, but promoting Wheatley Creek as part of our community.
For sure. And so, obviously, when you're attending these events, things like that, that allows you to push the brand out there. But when someone comes across your website, they see, a few competitors. I know you said you don't have too many competitors, but they see a few options. They come across your website. What are some things? And like I said, I checked out your website. I already saw a lot of these things. But what are some of the things that makes it clear you guys are ingrained in this community?
So we actually just did a photo shoot for all of our employees. So I updated a lot of our imagery from stock imagery to actual images of our team. I beefed up our About Us page so that it tells our story. It tells that story of my husband's family and how they homesteaded here. You could read that story. You could actually see the historic pictures of the homestead. So, and then it goes into about us. So then you can click on each of our employees' pictures and you can learn about each of them. And right now we're promoting that on social media. So we will post like I think I was actually the last one that was posted. So it's a picture of me and a brief little write up of me. And it also talks about like the things that I'm involved in the community and the things that are personal to me. And the feedback that we're getting from that, before I even started, actually, somebody came up to me at our chamber event and said, I love all the marketing you're doing, but we want to see more of you. Like we know you, we know your face. You've been here. I've been here for 30 years. My husband, of course, born and raised, and they know us, right? So that was their request that they wanted to see more of us. So we stepped it up, and then that's what we started to do. So with all these new pictures that are going on social media, people are giving us feedback that they love that they're seeing all of the team and they're getting to know all of us on a personal level, and I think that helps make us more relatable with the community.
Yeah, 100%. And quick question, so with your logo, I'm not sure if there is any relevancy, but it looks like it's like the mountains and like a specific scenery. Is that actually like a picture of your area, or is that kind of just like a generic thing made?
So when I worked with the graphic designer to get it done, we did talk about our community. We talked about the mountains. Wheatley Creek is an actual creek that was on the family homestead, so that's why the water is in the picture. The house, we wanted to, of course, do like a more upgraded house, right? A house that's more modern today, but also have it feel like Colorado cabinet, right? So yeah, we definitely chat with the graphic designer about our landscape and the our name and what it means for that logo.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks great, and it was one of those things that made it very clear it was very community oriented and not national generic brand that is not really ingrained in that local community. But yeah, that was awesome. I like how the branding was congruent, like colors and everything, all throughout the website, which does lead me into SEO and website. And I know that's obviously a huge topic for you. And so for someone that, let's say, they're either building their website themselves or having someone else build it, but they want to make sure they actually understand how to go about ranking higher, what are some things they can keep in mind when it comes to SEO?
So the geeky side of me wants to say go into Google Search Console and use the keyword planner and start looking at the keywords that people are actually using when they go into search to do a search into Google. But I know that that goes over the head of a lot of business owners. So the simplest way is to literally go into Google and do a search of how you think people are going to find you. All right. So I was sitting down with actually our neighbor next to us does detailing work on vehicles, and they're looking to expand into off-roading, like customizing off-roading vehicles. So my first question to him was, what would somebody type into Google to find you? And he went through a few keywords, and we started looking, and we finally found that one of the best keywords was off-roading shop or 4x4 shop. How do you know that? Scroll all the way to the bottom, and then all of a sudden Google's going to show you like 10 keywords that are relevant to your search. Those are great ideas to start with, and you can take each of those keywords and use one keyword per page. On your homepage, you can use two, but use what those keywords on each of the pages, and it'll help. Also, for small business, local SEO is really important, and the key takeaway there, super simple, just include your area. So for me, I'm in Grand County, I'm in Granby, so those words are keywords as well.
Awesome. And yeah, I did notice on your website, you guys had multiple pages for every service, every location you guys are working within. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I was talking about earlier, people aren't necessarily coming to us to find us for all of our services, right? So, my homepage may be targeting handyman or home services, but I mean, you could see when somebody goes into to Facebook, one of the Facebook groups, they're looking for something specific. They're looking for cleaning. They're looking for dryer repair. They're looking for dryer vent cleaning, right? So very specific things. So when you create those different service pages and those different pages are targeting that keyword, it helps it rank better in the search engines. And it's also great because when somebody posts that in Facebook, then I can post a link to that specific page, so which helps with conversions, right? I'm not sending them to my homepage that's generic. I'm saying here's dryer vent cleaning. Here's all you need to know about that line of service, which definitely helps kick off the conversation and make it more engaging.
For sure. Yeah, you definitely want to make it as easy as a process as possible for people to get the information they want. So if you just send them to one website, one homepage that has all your services, everything you guys do listed, it's too much for work for them to find what they're looking for. But like you said, if you have a page dedicated to that exact service and they go straight to it, get the information right away, and then it's a really easy, it's a click of a button, they already have what they want. So by simplifying it for them, you're getting more traffic to the website, but also more actions from that traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you do the keyword research in Google, a lot of times those line of services get more searches than the more generic home services, right? You're probably not going to get as many searches for home services as you would specific to like residential cleaning.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, it's likely that you'll probably see even more traffic on these sub pages than you would even on your homepage.
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. You had different pages for different locations as well. Is that also related to SEO and just ranking in those specific locations?
It is actually. So it for our like homepage, if you were to look at our keywords, we would be targeting Grand County, and the majority of our pages are Grand County. But that a lot of people aren't thinking Grand County, right? They're thinking, I have a home in Winter Park, Colorado, and I want to know about getting service in Winter Park, Colorado. So when I build a page that talks about handyman and home services in Winter Park, that page now gets to start ranking in that area to hopefully capture leads from Google from homeowners that are searching that community.
And just to confirm, those are cities, right? Each having their own page?
They're towns, but yes.
Yeah, towns. Okay, so I mean, it goes back to your point though. The county encompasses everything. It's more generic. Less people are
hmm
searching for that. So you're probably getting more searches on the town specific pages even. So same exact philosophy as what you mentioned with the services.
Yep. And so we actually, this is really interesting. We actually had our VA help us write those pages. And she doesn't live in our community, but her job was to go and learn about our community, right? So she went and learned as much. I gave her access to all the local chambers and the local historical society and different websites where you can learn about each community and what's unique to that community. So she went and learned about Winter Park. She went and learned about Fraser. She went and learned about Granby, and then she was able to write those pages. Of course, I go in, I edit, and make any needed changes before they're published. But she really got to learn about our community, which was super helpful because when she's answering the phones, she can now navigate our entire community because she basically went through the entire map.
I heard this strategy when I did one of my interviews actually not too long ago, but I haven't heard of it beforehand. And once I did, I thought it was amazing and I implemented it immediately because oftentimes people are hiring people that might not necessarily be in their exact service area, so they don't understand, where the mall is or where this is or how the geography or the land actually lays out. But by doing that research, they become like they're part of the community essentially, and they not only understand everything better, they can have the conversations better, but they even might feel more a part of the community, more a part of the company because of it.
Absolutely. And the conversations on the phone go smoother, right? Like she knows if it's snowing here or not snowing here, right? She knows how to go to the local chamber and look at like on Instagram and see their latest pictures they posted, and she knows what the weather is for the day. Of course, you could do a Google search, but those pictures like really help her understand like what is going on in our local community.
That's awesome. And so you mentioned the keywords, having the multiple pages for different services, different towns you're servicing. Aside from that, I guess let's talk about content. Like when it comes to images, videos, text, can you tell us a little bit about the strategy behind that?
Yeah, so in the past, we really have been using stock imagery. Our first step to get away from the stock imagery was definitely to do the employee photos, which we were able to do in the early summer. So our next step is to have the photographer follow us to our different work locations and take more pictures of us doing the work so that we can replace all of the stock imagery on the website, but also use it in social media. Right now, a lot of our videos are stock and like using stock images, right? We use ChatGPT and we use bead.io together, and we're able to create a lot of those. But we want to get away from those. We actually have a drone license too. We don't have that service listed on our website, but we know to fly a drone and we get amazing videography from that. And so we should be using our own videos and our own photos instead of anything that's stock. So that is definitely a huge goal from for the rest of this year.
Awesome. So initially, just to get the ball rolling, you were using a lot of stock imagery, but over time,
Yeah.
as you're able to, you're slowly replacing that, eventually trying to get to the point where everything is your own original content.
Absolutely. And like we use, I'm sure you've heard of it, Company Cam, right? So
Yeah.
all of our employees are taking pictures and uploading. So we have a lot of content that they're actually required to take pictures of every place, every home that they go and visit. So we're constantly getting pictures, our own pictures that we can use. And so between that and then hiring a photographer to follow us around to get really great photos from them, definitely our next steps.
Awesome. And when it comes to like the photos versus images, or sorry, photos versus videos, I guess how often are you using videos? Is it on every page? Is it just a home page? What's like the frequency difference, I guess?
So this is new. This goal started January, right? And so we beat our goal year over year as far as how many videos we produced around May. So I mean, we're putting out a lot of videos. A lot of it is staying in social media. But on our website right now, we are currently updating our FAQs so that each FAQ has a video to go along with it. Right now, again, it's stock. Eventually, I'd love it to have us talking and going through each of those FAQs. But our current, for our website, our videos right now are all being updated on our FAQs.
Got it. Okay. And then images, I'm assuming you guys are trying to have images on every single page. I guess when it comes to like planning things out, is it like a specific amount of pictures? Is it really just only if a picture is really necessary? I guess, do you guys have any strategy behind that?
Not necessarily. Like how the website is right now, if you go to a service page, there's pictures at the top and then it's content heavy. Today people love the short videos a heck of a lot more than they love all the content, right? And my head immediately goes to like a recipe. You go to find a recipe and you have all of that content, but now they have that jump to the bottom, jump to the recipe button, right? So you can skip it all and you get right to the recipe, the meat, right? Of the page. And that's how people want it delivered, right? The content's important. The content's important for search engines too because they understand that content. But it needs to be digestible and it needs to be fast. So I feel like our next steps are definitely going to be short videos that help explain each of those services a little faster than having to dig into content.
Yeah. And, the direction that the social media and everything is going, that definitely makes a lot of sense. So that's a great idea. But I'm also curious to how blogs play into this then. So obviously video content is becoming much bigger, much more important. And I think I noticed this with yours, I'm not sure, but definitely with a lot of other people where they stopped posting blogs like as of like a year or 2 years ago. Is this something that still plays a big role in SEO or not as much?
Absolutely, I don't think content's going to die. I think video is definitely in the forefront. It's a different form of content. It's still content, right? But you could post like the video on your blog and then have the transcription below, right? So then that content's still there if it's needed. But we still post once a month. Bigger companies, you would probably want to post a heck of a lot more. But for us, like we still post once a month. So we're still producing the content, but our focus is definitely more in social media.
Makes sense. Okay. And is there anything else in regards to SEO that we didn't really touch on, but you think could be helpful?
Sure. I guess one of the other big ones is link building. I feel like link building gets pushed to the side, but it is really important. And I feel like the more that you communicate with your community and the other small businesses in your community, there's opportunity there to share links between your websites, but also in social media, right? So in our community, a lot of small businesses, but we interact really well by sharing each other's businesses when somebody's asking for a recommendation. So if there's a local Facebook group and somebody goes on and asks for the best place to get your hair cut, there are small businesses that are saying, "Hey, here's the people that I would go see." Another really good one is we pulled together a list of our local service providers into a download on our website. So you go in, put your email address, and you can get our download to see the local services that we don't provide, but that other people provide, and that we would recommend. And when I kind of try to sell that document, what we say is that we have these people's phone numbers in our phones, right? We trust these people. We know them. We grew up with them. We probably went to high school with them. So we trust them, and you should be able to trust them too. So it's kind of like a preferred local trades and providers, and that's worked really well for us too.
Yeah, I saw that on your website actually, and I thought it was an interesting strategy. I wasn't sure if it was like a lead magnet strategy or something else, but what was, I guess, the thought process and benefit behind doing that?
So there's a lot of different options in a community, right? A lot of homeowners don't realize that some people need to be licensed and or insured. The majority of businesses are insured. I don't feel like that's an issue, but it's kind of like an educational tool for homeowners. So instead of assuming that you're hiring a plumber, for example, and they're going to come over and do a good job, you should actually know that that person should be licensed, right? So we don't have plumbing services, but we work with local plumbers that are licensed. So if somebody comes to us and wants a remodel, we may do a small remodel for them, but the plumbing work would be done by an actual plumber, and then they would come in and do that work. Electrician too, right? Electrician needs to be licensed. A lot of homeowners don't know that. So the idea between that guide is these are the people that you need to go to get this work done. They're licensed, they're insured, and they've been in the community for 20 plus years, and you can trust them to come in your home.
For sure. I can definitely see how that would be super helpful for the homeowner and very beneficial to any of the businesses listed on that. But on your end, what's the benefit for you? Are they also kind of doing something similar, promoting your business, or?
So the benefit for us is we're growing our email list, really, right? So you put in your email address, and then we grow our email list. So that's really the benefit. But also, we get a lot of questions on, can you do this? Can you do that? Let's say snow removal, for example. When snow season comes, we get a lot of calls for snow removal, and we don't do snow removal. But I can send them that list, and there's 5 different people listed on that they can call to get the snow removal. We also have HVAC on there, pest control, trash removal. So all of those companies are on there. So when somebody calls and says, "Do you do trash removal? Do you do pest control?" We don't, but here's who does it. So it's a document that I send out probably on a weekly basis to clients that are calling asking for other services that we don't provide.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, and having a resource like that, yes, you get their email, but you also are able to still provide value to someone that's reaching out to you guys and wanting to be your customer. So that's awesome, a great strategy, which I haven't seen done before, not to this capacity, but it's a great strategy, so I love it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've been a part of this business officially for like a year, but you've been actually helping it for far longer than that. Throughout, your experience within this company, is there anything that we didn't talk about today, but you feel like would be beneficial to share, like a lesson or anything you've learned?
Nothing that comes to the top of my head at the moment.
Okay, no worries. I know it's always tough put on the spot like that. Okay, if that's the case, then that really covers everything for today. This was super valuable, so I do really appreciate you coming on and sharing your feedback. For anyone that wants to learn a bit more about you and your business and what you do, where could they find you online?
So our website's wheatleycreek.com. And then all of our social handles are the same. So at Wheatley Creek, we're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We're very social. We communicate a lot in social media. We're pretty active. So yeah, love to connect and meet new people.
Awesome. Well, once again, thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day.